The angriest substance on earth aren't crystals, it's me. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Raphael and I'm here to review part 3 of Kathy Hilton's Beverly Hills reunion. So we start off the third part of this 4-part reunion with Kathy and Kyle again. And I'm thinking, wait, I thought we ended this conversation and we put a bow on this situation between both of the sisters at the last part at the very end. So why are we still dragging the situation onto this part? I mean, we really didn't have to see it, but regardless, they're still talking about it. They're still crying about it. And, you know, at this point, honestly, I blame the viewers and the audience for this because, you know, they're the one who hyped up Kathy so much throughout the whole season as soon as they got a glimpse of how dumb she was or pretending she was dumb, because they were like, oh, we love Kathy. She's so hilarious. She's fun. She's so funny. Oh my God, look at Kathy. She's so adorable. Oh, look at her. She is just so strange and weird, but it's so cute. We need more of Kathy this season. And look, Andy took all of that into consideration, and now look, he was probably like, you know what? I think the audience is really, really gonna enjoy seeing Kathy this reunion. I think we're gonna need a whole big, huge chunk of the reunion dedicated to Kathy, but we're not gonna tell the audience which part, 1, 2, 3, or 4. We're just gonna let them tune in because we need the rating. So we're gonna give them Kathy. So here, this is what we got. We got Kathy being forced down our throats. Because I'm like, okay, I mean, and I said it before, I mean, she's cool here and there. She has her moments. But, I mean, I still won't get the hype. I don't get the hype. I will never get the hype. I mean, she's just there. I think the only interest that I probably would have had with Kathy is if Andy or somebody else on the cast would have asked Kathy, so Kathy, let's talk about Paris. We're not talking about the husbands. Let's talk about Paris. So that documentary that she dropped not too long ago, I mean, she didn't paint you out in the best lighting. Can you talk about that? Were you a terrible mom? That's what I would have loved to hear Andy maybe discuss, but Andy is so far up her ass. You would think that she's the producer of the show. I'm like, okay, she probably doesn't want a diamond, Andy. She's probably not ever going to accept a diamond. And speaking of diamonds, we see Kyle, and Andy asks Kyle, oh, so how's everything going on with you and Kim, your sister, your other third sister? How's that going? How's that situation? And Kyle is like, we're fine. You know, we're here and there. Andy's like, oh, do you have her phone number? You know, maybe we can, I don't know. I mean, maybe I thought that we will see you, Kathy, and Kim this season together. And Kyle is like, oh, you want all 3 of us together in a scene? Well, Andy, I mean, you already know what to do. I mean, we already discussed this. I don't know why you're putting this in front of the cameras. I mean, you know, money talks. So if you want to see Kim back, you know, money and a diamond, but that money has to be big. You know, Kyle is not stupid. I'm pretty sure that they're probably discussing behind the scenes, like, you know, if you want to see Kim, we need to see the money. And then we move over to Crystal and the leather pants situation, along with the coat situation with Sutton, which feels like both situations happened so long ago. I mean, many years ago, but it happened this season. For some reason, it feels like a distant memory, probably because Erica's situation overshadowed everything because it came out of left field so quickly and then it took over the entire season. But he asked, oh, would anybody wear those leather pants? And the cast, majority of them say that they would wear the pants. And then he asked Sutton, oh, Sutton, how do you feel about the pants? And Sutton is like, oh, they're still not my favorite. And Crystal's like, it's okay. She's entitled to her opinion. And then they talk about the coat situation. And we remember that Sutton walked in on her while she was naked, giving her her coat, and she felt violated. And we brought up the whole situation of the word violated again. And I'm like, okay, why are we trying to bring this up? And why is Sutton trying to, you know, go against Crystal again? I'm like, okay, if she felt violated, she felt violated, and that's that. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not sure why Sutton was like, you know, I still think that violated was a strong word to use. I don't agree with that. And I'm like, okay, Sutton, you don't have to agree with that, but that's what she felt. And if that's what she felt, that's what she felt. Andy also brings up the words that Sutton said to Crystal with her saying, oh, I'm not the type of person that sees color. I don't see color at all. And then Andy asked Crystal, oh, but Kathy said the same thing. So what do you say about that? And then Crystal's excuse with that, I'm like, what? She said, oh, you know, it was a different situation. Her tone was different. So I understand that. And I'm like, it's the same thing. What, just because she's nice about it or just because she had a nicer tone to it excuses her way of thinking? No, Crystal, that's not how it works. So you mean to tell me if somebody says some stupid shit to you, to your face, as long as the tone is nice, you're accepting of it? No, that's not how it works. I'm like, Crystal, you lost me there for a second. And I feel like they kind of let Kathy skate off with that conversation. Well, they let her skate off with that conversation last week, and they let her skate off again this week. I'm like, okay, I guess, we're that far up Kathy's ass that whatever she says just goes. And Crystal also reveals to the cast that she deals with a lot of racism and a lot of hate in her messages on a daily basis on social media. And I can believe that, because I remember when, at the beginning of the season, when it was her versus Sutton and everybody was against her, people were saying the most insane things about Crystal. They were calling her this, they were calling her that, they were calling her everything in the book online just because, everybody agree with with Sutton's Karen behavior. They all agree with her dumbass behavior at the beginning of the season. Again, remember, Sutton, well, to me, I didn't personally start sort of liking her and, kind of feeling her out a little bit until maybe she got into the situation with Erica. Before that, I was like, Sutton, absolutely not, because the shit that was coming out of her mouth and the way she was behaving was just a full-time Karen. I just don't understand why the fans of the show are so emotionally invested into the women like that, where they have to send out hate to Crystal, let alone any of the women from any of the cities. It's just not that serious. It's just a show, and if you're that emotionally invested into their lives, you need to kind of take a step back and maybe not watch it. If you're taking it that serious, because there's no reason why Crystal should have an inbox full of hate from random strangers who are watching the show, right? I mean, they're all here to entertain us. Yes, some of them may be annoying and some of them may not be likable, but they're still here putting on a show, even if they are desperate for a diamond and they're doing too much and they talk too damn much and they shouldn't come back from season 12. Yes, I'm talking to you, Dorit. And then Andy also, I don't know what kind of cringy speech he goes after. He's like, yes, Crystal. I believe in that. Yes, I believe in everything and equality. I don't think that you should be letting any of these assholes win against you. Yeah, I said assholes because I want to sound edgy, because I want, the cameraman to take that in, and I want the viewers to think that I care, because I don't really care. I mean, whenever anybody else says anything racist on the show, I kind of let it slide because it brings us ratings. But I'll make a moment now. I'm like, Andy, please, you're so full of shit. Like, what is with this speech? I mean, what? This is the first time you witnessed this, and now you want to give this speech? I mean, what? Just because you're seeing it on this specific season, all of a sudden you're saying it now? Save it, because there was many opportunities that you could have said something before, or maybe addressed it while the season was going on, but you address it now. Save it. And meanwhile, Lisa was just doing the absolute most the entire time. I mean, she kept looking up every 5 seconds. I don't know what she was looking at. I'm like, is the Batman symbol up there? Because she was just like... And then she will reach out to Crystal looking for a moment just so it could seem that she has sympathy and has a heart. She's just like, it's okay. Where's the tissue box? Here's a tissue. Right here. Here. I borrowed these from Candace from the Real Housewives of Potomac. Here. Get a tissue. Yes. I'm here for you. Wait, is the camera's catching this? Wait, camera 3. Do you see my hand on her leg? Yeah, show it to the audience. Okay, I'm here for you. Keep crying, Crystal. Keep crying. Why you stop crying? Keep crying. Take that damn tissue down. Yeah, I'm here for you. Let me continue looking up dramatically. Lisa, you also save it, because you and your theatrics were just doing way too much on that damn couch. And then they also talk about how Crystal brought her culture onto the show and how everybody was excited to learn about it. And not to downplay it or anything, but I kind of wish that they would have had the same spotlight to Garcelle. I mean, nobody said anything about her Haitian culture or her dinner or anything. I mean, that was there, right? But I guess... it just went unnoticed. Then we get a video montage of the fashions of this season, and Andy asks Garcelle, since you've been on a runway, who do you think here on the cast dresses the best? And Garcelle's like, I think Dorit does. And Dorit doesn't even say thank you. She just nods her head. If I was Garcelle, I would have snatched my compliment back and would have been like, you know what, Andy? I was just kidding. It was an April Fool's joke. I think the best one on the cast that dresses the best is Sutton. Just as a joke, just to be petty to Dorit. And honestly, in my opinion, I think the best one on the cast that dresses the best is Erica. I mean, before she became a hot mess and when she was the pretty mess, I think that she dresses the best. I mean, she shows up to every scene looking like a bad bitch. Dorit, she shows up looking like a mannequin, dressed in logos from head to toe, and that's not really impressive to me. She's just there, and when Dorit wears her clothes, it's almost like the clothes are wearing her, and it's almost like she's desperate for validation. But, she makes it known that she's wearing it for herself, because then Andy's like, oh, Dorit, so let's talk about your clothing. So wait, you paid full price, or you paid full retail? And then Dorit, she was so happy to talk about this. She was just like, you know what, Andy, let's talk about it. So, Yes, I pay full price for all my outfits. You know, me and Bubba, we have money and we scam people. Oh, wait, no, that's my storyline for season 13 if I'm still here. But yeah, no, I pay full price for everything that I buy. Honestly, I really do, my love. And, you know, sometimes I like to dress a little bit provocative, a little bit passively provocative, if you must say, or if you must will. And I like to dress for myself. Who am I kidding? No, I do not. I like to dress for the public. I want everybody's approval and I want all the likes on Instagram, you know? So I want everybody to think that I'm a fashion girl because that's really all I'm bringing to this show. And honestly, let's talk about my wardrobe. So let's talk about Gucci. So we have this 3 hours later. Okay, we get it, Dorit. We get it. Dorit, seriously, if you don't stop talking, I'm gonna have to get security. Dorit, stop. We need to move on to Kyle. Anyway, Kyle, so what about you? What's the most expensive gift that Mauricio has gave you? And Kyle is like, well, let me really think about it. The most expensive gift that Mauricio ever gave me was probably almost cheating on me. You know, the cheating scandals and the rumors that, you know, were circling around Beverly Hills. I think that's the most expensive. And then he asked the same thing to Kathy. And Kathy, at this point, I'm convinced she's so rich and she has so much money that she enjoys pretending to play poor. She's just like, yeah, I have it all. I mean, what can she really be impressed with? I mean, you could probably give her like the moon and she'll probably be like, oh, that's cute. It'll match my bag. And then Andy moves the conversation back to Kathy and Kyle again for some reason. I'm like, why are we doing this, Andy? I mean, why are we talking about them again? I mean, is she that damn interesting to you all? I just don't see the hype. Do y'all all see the hype? I mean, I don't know. What is everybody's opinion on Kathy? Because, I mean, I'm not saying she's a bad person. But she's cool for the show. You know, again, she has her moments here and there, but damn. And then Andy's like, so Kathy, you know, how did Paris Hilton, how did she feel about you being on the show? And Kathy's like, she didn't really like it at first. I mean, she really didn't, which is funny because, you know, Paris has been on so many reality TV shows that are trashier than this one. So I'm surprised that she wouldn't want her mom to be on here. And Kathy's like, yeah, she just didn't want me being on the show, but, you know, she kind of came around it. And imagine if Paris was to actually come onto the Housewives show as a housewife. That would have been so cool. Imagine her tagline. I may like my diamonds cold, but I'll always keep it hot. So then Andy moves the conversation over to Erica and he's like, okay, Erica, are you ready for this? I'm going to put you on a skewer and I'm going to light up the barbecue. But don't worry, this barbecue comes with french fries and I think it comes with a drink and a free appetizer. So don't worry about it. And then we play the montage of Erica's fairy tales that she's been saying all season. And to this day, it still kills me when they show that scene of her and Kyle talking when she first told Kyle about the situation with Tom's car rolling over it all in one breath. She's like, yes, I'm pretty stressed out. And then that other scene where she's like, allegedly. It is still hilarious to me. I think that's probably one of the most funniest moments, the two funniest moments this season. And then Andy's like, okay, after the video montage is done playing, he's like, okay, Erica, so tell me, since you said you've been keeping score, who was there for you and who wasn't there for you? And Erica's like, well, why don't you ask them that? I mean, I've been keeping score. And then Andy's like, have you been keeping score? Would you like to tell us the score? And then Erica's like, well, it's funny that you bring that up. Yes, I would definitely like to bring up the score. So I made a chart. So this is my score right here. So Kyle, you have 2 strikes with me. Dorit, you have 3. 1 because you're bad fashion. Lisa, I love you. So you're good. You have you have nothing with me. You have no scores. Sutton, you're in danger. Look at you. You have so many tally marks. I don't think we're going to be friends. Garcelle, you have 2. 1 more, and I don't know. I think I might look at you differently, and I might not consider you my friend. So that's the score, Andy. That's the score. And then Kyle jumps in, trying to defend the situation when her, PK, Mauricio, and Dorit were all discussing Erica and clowning her behind her back. And she's like, I've been seeing in the tabloids, and by tabloid, I mean Twitter, that you're upset with me. And I just want you to know that, you know, I had questions and concerns about the story that you were saying to me. I mean, some of it just, it wasn't adding up, you know, Erica, and I had questions. And Kyle, I mean, honestly, I will be on your side here if you would have these same questions and concerns to Erica's face. I can see why Erica felt betrayed by Dorit and Kyle, because both of you made it look to her face that everything was fine, that you two were believing her lies, and then in the confessional, you two were saying otherwise. So I can see how Erica will feel betrayed. Even if she was still lying, she still felt betrayed. And Kyle, you still were being, you know, somebody else to her face, and then being somebody else in the confessional, asking all these questions when you should have been asking it to her face. So now you're trying to save face at the reunion. by saying some things didn't make sense or some things weren't adding up. If they weren't adding up, why didn't you ask the math teacher right then and there? What's 2 plus 2, Erica? Why is it not equaling 4? It's equaling 7. You know, you had the chance, but you didn't. And then the RHOBH jumps in, and the RHOBH kills me with these fancy words that she tries to use. I mean, she's probably going to choke on one if she keeps using them. She's like, hold on, Kyle. I want to jump in really quickly to defend my story. Okay, so Erica, the thing is, with your story that you were telling us, it just sounded a little bit preposterous. It sounded a little bit Tyrannosaurus Rex. It sounded a little, how do you say, Triceratops. You know, it just gave me a little bit of Anaconda-ish. And a little bit of onomatopoeia. You know what I'm saying, Erica? That's the problem that with your story. You know, it wasn't that we weren't believing it. It was just a lot of flabbergasting, you know, and just too much. It was too boisterous. And I'm like, Doree, if you don't stop that, just use ABCs. Like get to the point now with these words. You know she studied the dictionary the entire night, the night before they filmed this reunion, just so she could seem impressive on this reunion. I'm like, okay, Doree, next. Erica claims that the women were allowed to ask her questions or any concerns that they had from what she was saying to them. But Erica, at the same time, Sutton tried to do that with you, and she tried to ask questions and her concerns. But what did you say? You told her to shut the fuck up. So I'm confused at what exactly you want. I mean, can they ask you anything without getting some type of backlash? Because 1 second you're like, yeah, you could ask me whatever you want. I'm an open book. And then as soon as they ask you, you're like, how dare you ask me a question? So which one is it? It's like playing tennis with you. And then they also go into the whole, oh, you were trying to paint yourself out to be like a victim, and you know, you're not really the victim here. And she's like, no, I was never the victim here. I never played that role. That is not what I was trying to do. I was just going through a lot. And she jumps in finally. I mean, it took 3 parts for her to say something, because she was just sitting there, you know, with her folded up napkin dress, not saying anything this entire reunion. I mean, her face expression said it all, but she wasn't saying anything. But she finally jumps in and she's like, you know, when we had the whole trip, you ran away and you left, and then we saw Erica getting inside her Uber and going back home when they were on the trip. So Erica, you may say that you weren't trying to be a victim, but you painted yourself out to be a victim this entire season. I mean, using your own quotes, what did you say at the dinner table? Look at my fucking life. I mean, you know, if that's not, oh, help, I'm feeling sorry for myself, I'm a victim of my own life, what does that say about it, right? She also goes into explaining how she's supposed to feel with the whole situation with Tom and the alleged victims and the alleged scam and the alleged orphans, how she's supposed to feel through all of that. And Andy asks her, so how do you feel? And Erica's like, well, I feel kind of great, to be honest. I mean, I think I did a really good performance at this reunion. I mean, I think I deserve an Oscar or something. Oh, wait, you're talking about... No. I feel fucking horrible. What the fuck do you mean? I feel fucking horrible. And then Crystal, she jumps in. Crystal, I'm like, uh-oh, Crystal, you're too close to that couch next to her. I mean, I don't know if she might sock you. But Crystal jumps in and she's like, well, how come you didn't say that to the victims? And then you see Sutton across the couch. She put on her face. It's like the Karen activated in her head again. She's like... Yes, Crystal, get that bitch. Get it. That's exactly what I wanted. Go ahead. Yes. I honestly don't know why, besides the money, did Erica continue or even allowed herself to film this season of The Real Housewives, knowing that all of this was about to be exposed. Or when it did get exposed, why didn't she just pull back like, you know what, Andy, I can't be on the show anymore for legal issues, so I need to pull back and not be on it. You know, because you have so much like to lose out of this by going on TV and possibly catching up on your lives. I mean, if you look back at the season, there's so many things that just do not make sense in your story. So was it really worth it? I don't know. And I don't know. Andy continues asking the cast, oh, does anybody believe that Erica had any involvement in this situation? And of course, everybody's like, no. Everybody's like, no. I don't think that she knew everything. Of course, Lisa jumps in. She's like, does anybody want to buy a lip kit? I'm about to put my lip kit on right now because I'm about to kiss Erica's ass. I do not think that she did anything with Tom Girardi. Did everybody hear that? I do not think that she did anything with Tom. Just in case these couches have any type of walkie-talkies or anything with the FBI underneath. Just in case, I'm letting you guys know again that I do not think that Erica had anything to do with Tom Girardi. I'm like, okay, we get it, Elisa. We get it. Like, you're going to ride or die for Erica to the very end. And then the conversation about social media gets brought up, how, Kyle says, oh, the social media really didn't play a good favor in you as well, with you trying to not paint yourself out to be a victim. And the first thing that came to mind was the post that she did of her on the cross, where she's like, oh, this season is going to be the crucifixion of Erica. So I'm like, you see, Erica, again, you're just not painting out the best thing out there for your case. Crystal also jumps back into the mix, and she's like, Erica, if it was my husband, RHOBH, the creator of Lion King, the one that created, Mufasa, Simba, the amazing, iconic characters. If it was my husband and he was doing this to me and he was in Tom's position, I would be very extremely upset with him. So why are you not upset with him? And then Erica's just like, what, have I not been enough upset with you or this whole reunion? I mean, I've been pretty upset. I have explained my emotions. So I'm not really sure what fucking else you want with me. I mean, what else you want me to do? And then, of course, here comes Lisa jumping in, and she's just like, oh, yeah, sometimes we can't do what everybody wants us to do. You can't be predictable or whatever. And I'm like, Lisa, like, my goodness, what dirt does Erica have on you that you are just like, you are willing to go to the grave with Erica if it means just protecting her? But I don't know what she has on you at this point. Erica starts tripping on her lies because Andy asks her, so Erica, did you know about Tom's financial issues? And Erica's just like, no, I didn't know about any financial issues. I mean, there was so much money. We were making, I mean, not we, I mean the firm, I mean he, I mean us, I mean we, I mean, go to commercial break. That right there was enough for whoever's watching you to be like, what did she say? I think we're gonna have to rewind that. Can we get the tapes from this reunion? We're gonna need that in court. I mean, yikes, Erica. And then Andy asked Erica, so, did you know about any of his legal issues either? I mean, did you know about that either? And then Erica's just like, no, that's not true. I knew about his legal issues. Remember when we got sued the first time 2 years ago, that whole situation, it got kind of like, it got rolled over. But when I addressed it to Tom, he said, no, this is nothing. It's whatever. It's bullshit. So I was just like, no, you are lying to me, I think, because my name is attached to this. What's going on? Why are you lying to me? And then she looks over at Crystal and she's like, is that angry enough for you? And if I was Crystal, I would have been like, oh, I need to get my nails done after this reunion. Huh? Oh, you're what? If you're angry enough. Okay, that's enough, Erica. After this reunion, I think next, Andy, is next week the 4 part, right? Like next week is, okay, after we're done with this, just meet me in the parking lot at this point, okay, Erica? Because I don't know. I feel like you've been, I don't know, you've been asking for a fight, so let's just go. Like, Erica, again, you are not tough well, you may look tough to these women here, but no. And that was the episode, y'all. What did y'all think about this part of the reunion? I feel like they should have cut Kyle and Kathy's scenes off a little bit faster. If we're gonna get them, just make them like 30 seconds, because I feel like we spent way too much time talking about Kathy, and we could have kept things moving on just a little bit faster. But regardless, let me know what y'all thought about this part of the reunion down in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And I will see you all at the 4th and final part of the reunion. Bye, y'all. Mwah.